Hello and welcome to the Generational Gamer. Today we're going to talk about the BattlerGC wireless gamepad. Now you can probably see in big letters it says GameCube, and then in smaller letters Switch, Wii, and Wii U. Now this is something that'll be very interesting to try because Wavebirds are getting expensive. And it'd also be interesting to see if this one has rumble capabilities. Its features include 2.4 wireless technology, pressure-sensitive buttons, vibration feedback, very nice, compatible with GameCube, Game Boy Player, Wii, Wii U, Switch, PC, comfortable and accurate D-pad, offset analog stick placement, responsive analog sticks, we always like that, dual Z buttons, wireless range of over 30 feet. I don't know if you remember, but the GameCube had a commercial with a guy sitting on a toilet to show how far it was and walls had no boundaries. And then a USB-C charging port. This is shaped more like a PS2 controller maybe, or even more like the 8-bit Do controller. Take a look at that. Looks like a similar shape. However, this is in GameCube accurate position. We're going to put it through its paces, so get ready. To bind the controller to the GameCube, just simply hold this button and you'll see the light turn solid. We're focusing on the GameCube because look at the controller. Look at the way it's set up. Oh, and by the way, this was another GameCube kind of inspired controller. I already did a video on this. It's designed for Smash Brothers in mind, but having the buttons right here, it's great for the NES as well, on the Switch Online. Now, I recently posted a video on this, and I recently posted a video on this. This is the third of the Triforce, if you will, that Retro Fighters had sent me. So let's start by opening it up. Oh, damn arthritic fingers again. Oh, I messed up my box. How dare I? Let's pull this out. Da-da-da-da. And we have yet another box, folks, and here we go. We'll leave the controller for a moment. Once again, you have a USB-A. What the hell's the other end? And USB-C. So all three of these have come with this. The Defender came with a white cable. And last but not least, we have the Dongle. No, I'm not being perverse. That's actually what it's called. And it is a small, very small, holy crap, Wavebird style controller adapter. So this is actually the very first Wavebird I bought. With the system, I labeled it WB1 and its dongle. Now I have a second one because I really like the Wavebird. Its one downside is no rumble. The Battler is supposed to have rumble. And you can feel it's kind of heavy right there. That actually feels really good. You've got the triggers, they're analog. That's L1 and R1, at least that's how they're labeled. Oh, they're actually labeled L2 and R2 as well. Cool. And then you got the A, B, Y, and X in the GameCube fashion. Actually looks like it has switch buttons. Plus, minus, home. I can't quite see what that one is off the top of my head. That looks like a snapshot. I'm certain that is the pair button. There's nothing on the back. So let's look here. Wavebird. Battler. Pretty substantive difference in size there. Not a bad thing either way. Now, let's take a look at the controller's side. Wavebird. And Battler. They're actually about the same size. This is about the size of a Switch Pro controller. And just to prove that, here's the Switch Pro controller. And here's the Battler. So, how about we give it a try? I'm expecting good things. Quick note, just after finishing the other recordings, I found the USB dongle hidden on the left side of this box. It's a pretty simple basic USB dongle, and that is compatible with USB-based devices, including an Xbox. FYI, it is compatible with the Switch. In fact, it's the GameCube, Wii, Wii U, PC, and Switch. One negative, there is no click for the triggers. If you are unfamiliar, the GameCube had that feature where if you press down all the way, it acted as its own designated button. This doesn't have that feature, but we shall overcome. Okay, the first game we are going to test is not F-Zero GX, but F-Zero AX. What is AX? AX is the arcade equivalent to the classic F-Zero GameCube game. And I must say, this game still holds up well today. It was developed with Namco and Sega. Sega is the one who developed the game, and Namco released the arcade machine, dubbed the Triforce. It is compatible with the memory cards of the GameCube itself. In fact, if you take your GameCube memory card, bring it to the arcade, if you can still find one, you can import your save and vice versa, and you can unlock some other things. But this isn't really the reason you're watching. You're watching to find out about this controller. Okay, so you can see it is bound to number 1. Another little thing, which I'm going to discuss in a bit, this controller and this controller can be swapped for their respective systems. So if I want to use the Defender on the GameCube using the dongle with the Battler, or the Blade is essentially the same thing, except for this and this are swapped, and you've got a bigger D-pad, and it's more of a PlayStation setup. But who needs that when you got this? So I'm going to show you. This is start on the GameCube. This is start when you connect it to the Switch. So let's move into the game.
Unit explanation.
That would be the unit. Alright, we are going to do a quick race. Now, one other thing to note, I am running this with an M Classic, and I think it looks absolutely spectacular. The game feels exactly as I would expect with an original Nintendo GameCube Wavebird, which I also love. The Wavebird is one of my favorite GameCube controllers up to this point. I will reiterate that Retro Fighters did send me this controller, and I do appreciate that. But my views do not change based on something somebody sent me. The Z button still spins you around, so you can attack other vehicles. I have no problem controlling my car at 1,200 kilometers an hour. So this game only uses a few buttons. It uses the 2 shoulder buttons. It uses A, which is the large button in the center. And then it uses the triggers, which allow you to dig your sides into whatever direction you plan. The Z button on the right side acts as your spin to destroy other cars button. The Z buttons do not click like an official GameCube. Not a terrible thing. I never really used the function too much anyway. But overall, I think this thing handles really well. Let us try a platformer. So the next game we're going to play is Super Mario Sunshine. So that was start. We're going to hit start again. Alright. And I'm obviously running the wrong direction. And we're going to check out this game. I'm going to do my best to show it to you and not talk about it a whole lot. Here's start, because we're going to bypass all this. And now we got Mario standing there. Jump. See, that switches. That's your focus. And then of course you've got Flood, which you use the analog stick for. That's the map. So both Z buttons actually do the same thing. They both show you the map. That's your Flood. That looks like it makes you squat down like you're about to take a dump. But as you can see, you can move around the camera. Everything seems to work just fine. This is an awkward way to play it, but I'm just trying to demonstrate. So, here, let's go back in here. Make him run. Anyway, you can see Mario works just fine. Let's move on to something else. To sync the Defender to the GameCube, just press the button on the back of it while the GameCube dongle's blinking. Once they're both solid, you're good to go. Let's see the controls. Alright, Sonic feels normal. Alright, this is the only one that doesn't do anything. So this would be, I think, Y on the GameCube. The Z button brings you into that menu. The triggers don't do anything. You can use the D-pad. Plays like I remember Sonic, even not looking at the controller. Seems pretty responsive. I had a subscriber tell me that these dongles were interchangeable. That's pretty cool. And I should be right at the end. And I see the big ring, but I'm not going to try it. That's pretty cool. I like that. So yeah, interchangeable. And by the way, I have already tested it. It works the same with the Switch dongle as well, the USB. So if I want, I can use this one on the Xbox using my little Brook adapter. Alright, now let's try it out on the Nintendo Switch. Let's first go and take a look at the controllers. As you can see, it is recognized as a Pro Controller. Test input devices, test controller buttons. Okay. So this should not do anything other than pressing it. Yep. Right, same deal. This should be minus, this should be plus. So ZL, ZR, R, L. And then you've got your snapshot button, as you can see. That's home, we're not touching that again. This is turbo, which I never use those. But here, let's look at the down. And let's actually check out Super Mario Sunshine. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I already checked the controller. I just want to show you how it doesn't play proper. You gotta press A. A is the big one. You can see it's pretty dang responsive. But this controller is not suited for this game. So this is start. So here, jump. You see jump and B are both jump. What the heck? That allows you to do your switchy. This is actually your attack here. See? And then, look at this. Flood is pretty much still where it should be. But that's pretty much the extent of it. Delfino Plaza is still your top buttons, except for this. Flood is R and ZR. And from what I can tell, you go into the controls, there's no real way to modify them. I mean, sure, you can move the camera orientation stuff, but that's about it. It gives you some of the details, but doesn't let you change it. So as far as I'm concerned for this game, this controller is not even playable. But again, that's not really what it's for. It is recognized as a Pro Controller. Let's try Star Fox. I mean, as you can see, I have no problem controlling the game whatsoever. But I mean, I really like this controller. I like the whole setup, but I'd use it exclusively on my GameCube. In short, if you want this controller to replace your GameCube, get it for the Wii. You can use it on the Wii U using the USB dongle, but the GameCube dongle you can use in your Wii, assuming your Wii has GameCube ports. The vast majority do. You can play GameCube or some Wii games that support the GameCube, like Mario Kart. But if you want it for your Switch, I don't really recommend it. I have already connected it to an Xbox using the Brook adapter. In fact, this is what you need. You need the Brook adapter and you need a USB to Xbox. If you have that, you can connect it. But once again, if this is a controller you're buying for your Switch, I would go with the Defender instead of this one. Still the 2.4 gigahertz version, but I would go with the Defender in lieu of the GameCube. I just think it's a better setup, and it's set up like a Pro Controller. So that's it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to drop a comment. And if you don't mind, please hit like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one.